days of South Africa's democracy, a new sound rose from the townships here in South Africa. It was raw, it was unapologetic, and it was entirely homegrown. It's known as Kwaito. You're listening to one of those in the background. This is Joni now with Maria Podesta.
Yeah, apparently it's going to be the first to be featured in this new podcast that we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, look, this is a new podcast that speaks about the genre of Kwaito, but not just about what it has done for the music industry, but it also poses the question: is Kwaito dead as a genre? This new platform has reignited that conversation. It's hosted by Sbu MaLawyer, and the KiND podcast, short for Kwaito Is Not Dead, is positioning itself as more than just a show, but a cultural revival. And we're finding out a little bit more about this cultural revival by Sbu Jangase, also known as Sbu MaLawyer, who's a Kwaito legend and a podcast host. Thank you so much for joining us, legend. It's great to have you.
Hola, Sbuda.
Hello, Palisa. Hola, Benjamin. Thanks for having me.
Oh, what a pleasure.
I'm very excited to start this because people have forgotten where we come from, but now we need to really reprimand them, but also bring the culture back,
Yeah.
I love that we need to reprimand them.
No, and I think we do
where
need
we come from.
We both need to remind them and to reprimand them because there's been an evolution of music, right? But it feels like we've forgotten where this evolution is coming from, because if we listen to some of the genres, there are genres that wouldn't exist if the genre of Kwaito never existed in the first place. So I think that reprimanding is part of these conversations. But tell us why you decided to start the KiND podcast, Kwaito Is Not Dead, and why you wanted to remind us about that phrase, that Kwaito is not dead.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, the good thing is that you'll understand that the society, the people that grew up listening to Kwaito, during that time, they were still at school. Some of them, they were still varsity and all that. But in a later stage, I think some of them, they started to be business entrepreneurs, others in media, DJs and all that. And I think they felt the responsibility that this sound was not really belonging to the Kwaito artist. This sound was belonging to the society, because remember, this was one sound that introduced the lingo yakokasi. It put it in the platform, put it on the map to people to understand how do we speak ekasi, how do we dress, so it was one kind of a sound that was different from the other sound. Remember also, if you remember, during the times of Chico and all of them, they were produced, that music was produced by white producers. That now Kwaito was the first genre that was produced by black producers,
Sure.
Yomdu, Yochonina, to name the few. So now, counting from the people that are coming from that genre, they felt the responsibility that Kwaito can't die. So Mina was as much as a Kwaito artist, as a Kwaito legend, we wouldn't do much. But until such a time when my team, but I'm not gonna divulge who is my team.
Sure.
My team is kind of those people who are coming from that background who felt that Kwaito can't die. And then they came to me with the business form. They said, no, Sbu, this is the idea. This is what we want to bring back. Kwaito must come back. Please be the faces, because you are the faces of Kwaito. Kwaito without you, Kwaito without us, without Kwaito wouldn't be where we are. Because remember, Kwaito didn't only really work to us as artists, as I said, but also to the people out there. They were encouraged because of the songs that we're singing.
Sure.
I'm a lawyer. It was more about abantu bomthetho. People must understand the contracts. Why you for me? All those kind of messages. It was talking to the society. It was talking to the young people during that generation now who are CEO directors today, and still talking to them till today. And they felt this kind of a sound can't die, because this is kind of a kind. This is why we call it a kind of a sound. Kwaito is not dead.
Fantastic. I love that you described it in that way. You know, there is a resurgence, as you've been highlighting, where even in our studios, we've had a couple of wonderful artists of the Kwaito genre pulling through here and just hanging out with us from, TK. No, we had Trompis. Who else did we have the other day? Yeah, we've had a few, right? But
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
nice that the guys keep coming in and out. But this time it feels like there's a real interest in the Kwaito genre. What do you think is happening right now where people are saying, Ish, we missed that sound and we want to hear it more?
Yeah, actually, what we're doing basically, we are more about to bring the economy of Kwaito, because if you can remember very well, that's a reprimanding part. During 1998, 1994 till 1998 to 99, Kwaito during that period generated over 2 billion in the economy, just in the economy of the country. Kwaito only, not other gender. I'm not talking about the whole music. I'm talking about only Kwaito. So now you can tell that this kind of gen, it still has a potential, because it belongs to the people. People belongs to it. It's their sound. So as there's kids and there's boys and girls out there in the township who are still doing the hardcore Kwaito, as much as yes, the sound has evolved, but they still feel ukuthi that sound, it's still their sound. It should come as it is, because it doesn't need some other, because it's originally
Sure,
sound.
sure.
We're not against the evolution. We're not against other genre, but we are not in a competition, but we are in the mission to bring back the economy of Kwaito, and also to make sure that we have the generation and generation to come of the artists, new artists that want to record music. Hence I said, in Soweto alone, maybe you can mushroom over about 20 to 30 talent ezola kuphela. You
Yeah.
can come up with 30 to 20 talented artists who will bring the very same sound as we did it, even more than before, because the sound evolved, but at the same time they evolve in terms of the rap, but the sound stays the same.
Sure.
Stays in the it's the same originally, but in terms of the delivery now, they've moved, they've switched to something else.
Nice.
So we can give them this kind of, by coming up with this podcast, we are saying we need to bring back, we need to give those guys, those boys and girls in the township the opportunity to come and record their music,
right.
give them platform, give them a support, and do music for them, record them,
Sure.
promote them, market them, PR them, and all that.
Sbu, I need to pay the bills. We'll come back and find out more about the KiND podcast, which is short for Kwaito Is Not Dead. We'll find out more after the break.
Stay tuned to Channel Africa. Stream us on our new and updated website, channelafrica.co.za.
Franschhoek, get ready. The vibe is happening this March. The Monroe Jazz Festival Franschhoek is bringing more than 30 local and international acts for one unforgettable weekend, including DJ Zinhle, DJ Kent, DJ Kent Zero, Layla Hathaway, Robert Glasper, and Bilal, plus many more. From 27 to 29 March 2026, experience the music, the culture, and the energy. Grab your tickets now at ticketmaster.co.za. Monroe Jazz Festival Franschhoek. Feel the energy. Live the moment.
Keeping you on the know and on the move.
We're speaking to Kwaito pioneer and podcast host now, Sbu MaLawyer and Changase, who is with us to tell us more about the KiND podcast, short for Kwaito Is Not Dead, positioning it as something that's going to be a cultural revival of this long-standing genre. What can we expect from the podcast, Sbu?
On the podcast, the first one, actually, we're gonna invite the guest from the legends of Kwaito, obvious, but also I think the first episode where we have done, people should expect that the one that we're gonna launch on the 1st of April. It's one of the founder of Kwaito, Mr. Jonina himself, in his song just now. We'll be having him I'm sorry, I got a call here. We'll be having Jonina. Actually, we did that with Jonina. We recorded that the first one. So Jonina is gonna be is part of the first guest. And the good thing is that, as I said, he's a one of the former Kwaito producer. When Kwaito started, I think Jonina and Boata, they were the early stages of the producers of the gender time Nabo Speaker. So it's a good thing that to have such a giant who started Kwaito at the early stage, to have him to open the podcast. Then in the later stage, we'll be inviting other artists, the Kwaito legends, but also we're not gonna also invite only the artists, only the artists, but we're also gonna invite the DJs as well, who understand the DJs of that time, who understood the sound of Kwaito, and invite even the people from the society, the producers, everyone that has an experience of Kwaito will be invited on the podcast. So the podcast will be talking to everyone that has a background and grew up with the sound of Kwaito.
I love that because it's also like part of a history, right? History that is so necessary for us to learn, especially for those who are young and getting into music today. It's sometimes so important to actually understand where the music comes from, even today. I want to find out though, are you guys also going to be inviting some of the younger artists to come in to speak about Kwaito's evolution and how it's presenting itself in today's time?
Yes, definitely. KiND is not just, hence you said earlier that all these genders that are there today, they are there because of Kwaito. Kwaito opened the doors for independent, Kwaito opened doors for people, for young artists to start to have their own labels, like your Afrotainment, your you name them. There's a lot of young guys who are having their own companies without depending on major labels. They release their music online. They depending on themselves. They manage themselves. They open their own stables with themselves. They have everything on their own. So definitely we're gonna invite them to be part of this. So because they also must understand that where does it come from, and they must also know why the sound it evolved from Kwaito to where it is. And beside that, also, what I want to emphasize the part that people must know that Kwaito is not just a genre; it's a movement. This podcast that we're doing, it's a movement, because what we need to do, basically, we want to come up. Hence, I said earlier, this is the economy of Kwaito.
Sure.
There's kids out there. I mean, I started to buy my car through when on my first album. I bought my house through the first album.
Yeah.
So we want to bring people to able to be responsible, to start their own economy, to start their own businesses through Kwaito. Basically, we want to give people support to able to stand for themselves. And also, the another part that I want to emphasize more than anything, KiND is more about, if you can check overseas how they PR themselves. It's so surprising, and it's so disappointing at the same time to find a young boy in the township. When you say Sbu MaLawyer or Mduma Selela, they don't know Sbu MaLawyer.
Sure.
But if you ask them about Lionel Rich or Luda Vendros, they know
They
him.
know. Yeah.
So we need to kill that, because I think even our radio station need to start to play our sound like they play the music from overseas. Because if you can check, there's Sunday stations now where everywhere in the corner they playing R&B, they playing Yolanda Rich, Luda Vendros, the music of
Absolutely,
that time.
you're
Now
right.
we need Kwaito we need Kwaito to also give that platform. So this podcast is not just but about just for the sake of podcast, but this podcast is also about also nailing and making sure that our roots doesn't die.
Okay.
Our generation of Kwaito, people must know who's Sbu MaLawyer.
Sure.
People must know who's Mduma Selela. They must know the identity. As much as they know Lionel Rich, they must know Sbu MaLawyer
For
is.
sure. Absolutely,
Basically, yeah.
Sbu. We have to leave it there. That's Sbu MaLawyer. Where can we find the podcast? When is it being launched?
I think my PR people is gonna give you all the information
Sure.
from next week, but I'm definitely sure on the 1st we are launching it, and you'll get it in all the media platform about it. We're still establishing, developing the Facebook.
Okay.
the website, the all the digital, all the platforms, your Instagram, every platform where you can able digital
Sure.
where you can able to get us will be visible for you.
All right, Sbu, thank you for hanging out with us. All the best with the podcast.
And then also to emphasize just one thing, at the moment you can use my handle,
Okay.
because we're gonna link it to my handle on Facebook. It's Sbu Ntshangase, and then on Instagram it's Sbu Ntshangase, on TikTok Sbu MaLawyer Original.
Nice one, man. Thank you so much, Sbu. That's Sbu MaLawyer and Ntshangase, Kwaito star and podcast host, man. The first conversation will be around this legend, Joni. Now let's hear a little bit of this one.